This is Road Noise, episode number 45. Be excellent. Hello and welcome again to another episode of Road Noise. I'm your host, Michael Blackston. You're sitting alongside me in the passenger seat as we commute to and from my place as I go to work, learning to live life 1 mile at a time. If you hear the sound of a rumble under my voice, that's just the sound of the road, hence the reason I call it Road Noise. And with that out of the way, we're going to talk about today's topic, which is be excellent. When I was preparing this episode, I was going to call it Do the Thing You Do with Excellence or something like that, because originally, when I got the idea for this topic, it was kind of a eureka moment for me. I've had this same eureka moment before, but as time creates a slow fade in things in your life, I'd kind of fallen away from it, and so it was a eureka moment all over again for me. But then later today, as I was finishing up my work and I'm thinking about home and what's going on when I get there this weekend, I was thinking about everything. It kind of all rolled into a ball of my whole life, not just being excellent in what I do, but being excellent in who I am. So I said, when I record this episode, I don't think I'm going to talk about being excellent just in the job that you do. That's part of it. But I want to talk about being excellent all the way around, not just in what you do, but in who you are. Excellence being a part of your life's description. And I think that's really important. So I'm going to go ahead. I had already written down a whole bunch of little notes to talk about what brought me into the thoughts for this topic, and it kind of to guide me through the episode as I drove. And I'm going to refer back to those, but at the same time, I may go off book here a little bit and just talk what's on my heart about being excellent, because excellence is something that's very important to me. To go back to where I was mentally when I started thinking about this, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've kind of been in a funk. I've been in a depression. I don't think it's chemical or anything like that. In fact, last episode number 44, was all about handling normal anxiety and depression, and it was because of the way I was feeling that I decided to talk about that. But it just kept going. I had that episode, and I believe in all of the things that I said to do to keep that in mind, but there are still days where it's hard, and it beats you down, and you just get burned out, and I think that's where I was. And I have a job that I'm working on currently. I didn't get to finish it on Wednesday. I started feeling bad, and so I decided to stop, and then I had to move on the next day to the other jobs, and bunch of stuff happened. I had to reschedule it for next week, so I'm not quite done with it. I'm about halfway done with it, but I really could have finished it Wednesday if I wanted to by mailing it in. And what I mean by that is just doing it good enough, getting it done fast. It would have been beautiful. They would have loved it, but it would not have been my best. I decided I'm going to take it slower. I'm going to slow things down in my life a little bit and do things with excellence, because I realized that my discontentment was starting to show in my work. And mentally, I had become what I never wanted to be. I had become an etcher. As you probably know if you've listened to past episodes, what I do for a living is I'm a granite etcher. I do artwork on black granite by scratching into the polish of the granite. It's very detailed artwork. Some of it's black and white, some of it's in color, but it's very detailed artwork, and I'm good at what I do. I like to think I'm one of the best. But lately, my discontentment and being tired and burned out has started to show in my work, and it's gotten a little sloppier. Probably nothing that most people who aren't trained artists would ever recognize. It would just, to them, be my style. But I know better. I know that I'm a tighter artist than that. I know I'm more detailed, and I know I'm not as sloppy as that. I had just gotten sloppy because I was tired, and I felt like I had to rush through everything to get to the next thing and get to the next thing. And I realized I needed to slow down and stop being an etcher and get back to being an artist. And what does that have to do with being excellent? I think it's self-explanatory, really, when you think about it. Being an etcher is just a job. Being an artist is who I am. And if I'm going to be true to who I am, I want to be the very best I can be. And I wasn't being that. Just being an etcher. Anybody can be an etcher. But I want to be an artist. I want every new work that I do to be my next masterpiece. I want to get better every time. If I if I etch a horse, let's just say the bust of a horse, I want the first one to be great. But I'm not happy just with that. I don't want the next one to be just as great. I want the next one to be better. I want to improve. And even if I don't improve, even if I move laterally from piece to piece, I want to at least be able to say that I gave it the best that I had. That I took my time. And for me, most of all, that I enjoyed it while I was doing it. I wasn't enjoying work anymore. I wasn't hating work, but I was just kind of in this treading water stage. I wasn't moving forward. I wasn't enjoying it. When I first started doing this job, I did it because it was something that I could do as my own company, but still do what I love to do. I wasn't really doing what I love to do, which is creating beautiful works of art. I was just etching. Now, that's kind of a long way around to talk about that, but that's kind of how I was feeling. So I decided I was going to just slow down and enjoy my work. This job that I'm doing, I slowed it down. Each stroke is on purpose now. It's intentional. I have a direction for it. And when I'm done, it will be, I think, one of my most beautiful works. And I thought to myself, this has got to be a common thing with people. Especially people who are creative types. If you are in a job and you're happy with your job, but you punch in at 8 o'clock and you're on an assembly line and you do the same thing all day long and you're cool with that because that's the type of thing you like to do, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's needed. It's a part of our culture and a part of our economy. Those types of jobs are a must for our country to thrive, for our world to thrive. But for us creatives, it's not enough just to pick up a paintbrush and put it to canvas and hope something good comes of it, or to make the same stroke over and over. A true creative wants to create life and beauty. And I figure it's probably a commonplace thing for probably all sorts of people, but especially creative types, to kind of get in that burnout mode and not know what's going on in your head, why you're discontent. I think a lot of times it's because we've gotten into this humdrum role and we just go through the day like a robot. So I want to implore you to do not just what you do, but to be excellent. So right now I'm just talking about my job. I'm talking about my contentment in what I do. But it goes further than that, because as a spiritual person, as a Christian, I want to be the best I can be for not only the world and the people around me and my family, but for God, for my Creator. I want to take this body, this temple that He's given me, He's gifted me with, and do with it the most and the best that I possibly can. I'm not happy just plodding through the days and the months and the years. I want to do something with my life. I want to be excellent. So stop and take a minute and think about your life right now. When you get up in the morning, do you say, oh, another day, another dollar, another time to punch the clock, another commute, another half hour sitting stopped in traffic on the highway because everybody's trying to get to their place? Are you just ants in a line, going back and forth, doing your job? Are you a robot, or do you have life? If you have life, consider living it with excellence. Everything you do. If you're hungry and you're going to make a burger, don't just slop a burger together. Make it a project. Make it an artwork. If you're an artist and you're going to draw a dog with graphite or paint a dog with oils, don't be content to just take a photograph of a dog and see how close you can get it to looking on canvas to the picture you've got in your hand. Turn that photograph all over the place, upside down, side to side. Look at all of the angles of your subject and ask yourself, what is the best way to present this image? The most unique way. What is the most me way to present this that will bring out my soul and my heart, the heart of the artist? And then when you do that, don't just slop paint on the canvas. Make each stroke matter. Do everything with excellence. When you relate to other people, when you are going down the street, you're in Walmart, you see somebody and you're going to have a talk with your friend, somebody you haven't seen for a while, or you're just making normal conversation with somebody, ask yourself, and even in those situations, how can I be excellent? How can I live my life in a way that makes a difference in this person's life? I don't want to just say, how's your mama now, and be done. When you ask, how's your mom? Listen. Be excellent. Be a real friend, not just someone who shakes their head and moves on. Be real. And I think that's one of the true definitions of being excellent. I think that's one of the things within the definition of excellence is sincerity, being real. Because you were made a certain way. You were beautifully and wonderfully made. Now, whether you believe in God or not, I still want you to understand that you were created beautifully and wonderfully. I believe it was by God. You may not. You may believe that you are just a product of nature, but I think that's still beautiful and wonderful even if you don't believe in God. You were beautifully and wonderfully made. And you have unique gifts, unique abilities. So find out what those are. Think about them and be excellent. I feel like I'm kind of going around in circles on this, and so this may end up being a fairly short episode, and I'm sorry if you like the longer ones. I really don't know what more to say other than that. It's just on my heart. I don't want to go through life humdrum. I don't want to wake up in the morning and put my feet on the floor and start my day with the attitude that it's just going to be another day. It's just going to be another opportunity to get hit by the world. It might be good, it might be bad, it might be average. I don't want that. I don't want to wake up in the morning and have my mindset start out that way. I want to wake up in the morning with a smile on my face and say, I don't care what life throws at me. Whatever happens, I'm going to react, and I'm going to choose a course of my day that is excellent. That starts with the right attitude. To be excellent in life, you have to have a good, positive attitude. So start your day that way. Get up in the morning and tell yourself, even if you have to look in the mirror and say, today I'm going to be excellent. It may not be an excellent day, the things I can't control, but the things I can control, the things I'm in charge of, are all going to be excellent. If you live your life with excellence, you'll see your life start making positive leaps and bounds if you keep it consistent. It's one thing to say, I'm going to be excellent today, but then you get tired of it, and you really don't feel like smiling at anybody, and you don't feel like offering your hand to shake somebody's hand and tell them good morning. We all have bad days. You have to get past that and decide you're going to be excellent anyway. And if you're inconsistent, it's really not going to make much of a difference. But if you consistently say, today, I'm going to be the best I can be, I'm going to do my job with the most gusto, with all I have in me, no matter how I feel, I'm going to give the best that I have today. Your best today may not be as good as it was yesterday, but as long as you know you're giving the best that you have at all times in that moment, you are being your most excellent at every given moment, or at least striving to be, then I think positive things will come your way. I think when you are positive and when you surround yourself with positivity, then your world will start to turn in positive ways. It's not a hard philosophy. It's really life as it was meant to be. Just be excellent. This week has been difficult to a degree mentally for me. Like I said, I have had a lot of discontent. Things that are going on here and there, things that are affecting me mentally, just battles I'm having to fight constantly. You get weary and you get burned out, and I've had a week like that. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. I'm not going to go into any detail really about my week. There's really nothing. It really would be boring. I've been unpacking boxes and cleaning up the old house and doing, my wife works full time, but she's not her own boss, so she has to work Monday through Friday. She has no option to take time off. So I've done most of the moving and cleaning up and all that stuff myself, and I've done it a little at a time because it's just been so stinking hot. And I think a lot of that, I hate the heat so bad that I think that's a lot of the reason that I do get burned out. I think I literally get burned out because it's just so hot. And this summer has been miserable. Last summer was fairly mild, if I remember correctly, but this year, it's just been 100 degrees or near it every day and just oppressively humid. And it's the humidity that gets to me the worst. In the deep south, it will just make you miserable. It'll sit on your shoulders. It feels like the sun is sitting on your shoulders. And I think that's been what's been wrong with me a lot. And so I was glad that I had kind of this, once again, this reawakening of let's do everything with excellence. Let's march into every battle with the best of me that I have. That's kind of, I don't want to call it cliche. I don't want to call it sappy. I don't want to call it, I don't know what you call it. I kind of feel like the whole idea of it might sound like a big pep talk. And I suppose that's what it is, but I really believe it. I believe what I'm saying. I'm no Tony Robbins, but I do believe in motivation, and I believe that sometimes we need to hear it, and sometimes we need to hear it from somebody else other than ourselves to kind of get the point across, for it to really sink in to flip that switch. I'm going to give you a positive review now at the end of this episode, this shortened episode, and it's something that I guess it's part of me. I can tell you about my week because it kind of ties in together. Last Sunday, my wife told me, or Saturday night, she told me that we had an appointment to meet a guy about an hour away to pick up a vanity she was going to buy from him. She had seen it on an app that she had found, and she offered him a price for it. He accepted it, and then we had to meet him at a McDonald's off of some exit close by, about an hour, well, no, not really close by, an hour away, but it was the perfect vanity. She was really wanting to get it, so I said, okay. So on the way up there, I said, how did you find this? And she started telling me about this app, and it's this week's positive review. It's an app called, I'm not sure how to say it. It's either Close 5, as in close the sale, or Close 5, as in people that are close to you. And it's not really an auction, but it's just kind of a trade market app where people that are you can choose your vicinity, 5, 10, 50 miles in diameter to where you are, and you see what people have to sell. You can post things for sale yourself, or you can see what other people have posted for sale, and then you can make an offer, and then you can meet to buy it. It's very similar to Craigslist in that way, but it's you know how Craigslist has kind of gotten the stigma about it, and you can get a little too much on Craigslist. This is just for a marketplace type thing, and it's called Close 5. I'm going to say Close 5. It's CLOSE 5, and if you go on there, everything will explain itself. It's not difficult to navigate or anything like that. It's just an app that you can put on your phone, and you can find things that you might need or people to buy things that you would like to sell. And it worked really well for us. The gentleman went right on. I mean, within like 15 minutes of us meeting him and making the trade-off, our cash for his vanity, he had already gone on and left like a 5-star review on how the transaction went and how happy he was and all that stuff. So it's a really good thing. Close 5, check it out, see if it's something that could help you out. So that's really all for this episode. A little bit shorter episode of Road Noise. I won't say I'm not a little bit distracted. It's starting to rain. There's traffic all around me. I'm extremely tired. Kind of feel like I rambled in this episode, but I'm going to let you be the judge of that. If you'd like to give me some suggestions on how not to ramble, or if you'd like to make a comment about anything you've heard on this episode or maybe a past episode, here's how you get in touch with me. You can call the hotline at 706-408-7456. That's 706-408-7456. You can get in touch with me via email, feedback@michaelblackston.com. That's feedback@michaelblackston.com. And there's all the other ways you can get in touch with me. Facebook, if you look up Michael Blackston on Facebook, you'll find a few of us, but I'm the one that's got a bunch of theater stuff. And I'm in Georgia as well, Elberton, Georgia, so you can look me up that way if you just want to friend me that way. But I also have a group that I administrate called My Everything Arts, and I would like to also ask if you happen to be in the area of iTunes or would like to go to iTunes via the Road Noise Podcast. You can go to roadnoisepodcast.com. Love to hear what you have to say there. Leave me a rating, a review, help me get seen, all that good jazz. You can find me on all of your podcatchers, any of the ways you like to listen to podcasts. And do me a favor, if you really want to help me grow, all you got to do is tell people about the Road Noise Podcast. So for this kind of broken up, mixed up episode, maybe next week I'll feel like I'm a little more structured, but that's okay. That's what life's all about, and we're learning to live it 1 mile at a time. I'm Michael Blackston. Thanks for joining me in the passenger seat as we learn all that good stuff, and I'll see you in episode 46. Take care.